Hey guys, this is Alex703 Restaurant. I am back with another request here, another review. And yes, I do want to be put on the mailing list. People will get that in a second. Anyway, I'm reviewing the band Kidding on the Squares. Talk about it. Um, they okay, so the guitarist for Kidding on the Square, Steve Sullivan. I've known him for a long time. He runs the after school program at my school, and so I've known him since I was about 10 years old, or even a little younger. Um, and my friend told me about how his Steve's band is cool, all this. So I downloaded the album off Facebook, or I actually downloaded the tracks individually, and link to their Facebook right here will be there. And I asked him, I contacted him. I said, "Can I get a copy of this album?" And he said, "Yeah, they're normally $5." And I said, "I have a YouTube channel. I can review it for you." And he was like, "All right." So I went to pay for it. He gave it to me for free, which is very nice, Steve. Um, but I would have paid for it. But anyway, so Kidding on the Square is sort of, it's hard to pin them down in one genre, but if you're gonna go, it's like funk, dance, electro, rock. And Steve has stated himself in an interview on yourlifeisnowbetter.com, also linked in the down bar, that it was, he just wanted to play straight up like classic rock and roll style music, and it was the other members of the band that brought in all this funk and electro elements into it. Um, and the first thing that you notice about this album is that so many of the melodies come from the bass and not the guitar, and I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was really good. For example, on the title track, "Talk About It," it's just this awesome funky bass riff. And one thing you must say about this album is that it's extremely danceable. Every song is very danceable. I've been dying to see them live actually because of this. It would probably be so much fun, and at some point I will. But the and it's because the so many of the melodies are played on the bass, which and the melodies are extremely funky all the time, which just leads to immediate danceability and immediate fun. And it's not as if the guitar is pushed into the background before, because of it. No, in fact, it's very much in the foreground still, but it's almost adding the flavor to the song, and the bass is the backbone that's pushed into the front, if that makes any sense at all. I'm not sure it does. One thing that Kidding on the Square has to get in order, though, is they need a drummer. They have right now a drum machine, and that really doesn't cut it on this album. There are some parts where there are glaring needs for a drummer on this album, and in many parts, I have to be honest, it can ruin songs. For example, on the "Lift You Up," which is straight out of, like, I would say almost like a Lenny Kravitz album, one of his ballads. Um, it would be a really nice ballad if it had a drum, a real drum that you could tell was not just programmed, on a drum machine. And that definitely hurts them. But I have heard from my information source Jamie that they are actively seeking a drummer out. So whatever. One thing I must say, Kidding on the Square is extremely versatile, and on this album they show it. They could go from funk, as I mentioned, to dance, to balladry, to sort of reggae songs, to straight up, old classic rock, such as on the bonus track "Star Time Cruisin'," which they wrote when they were 19, which is impressive because it's one of the best tracks on the album. But I think they sort of eschew a definitive style, in favor of versatility, and I'm not sure that's the best thing. Yes, debut albums can be problematic sometimes when bands just sort of keep going back to the same reference point over and over again. But I do think it's important for bands on their first album to define their style, and Kidding on the Square doesn't. The bass lines are as close as they have to a style, and I think it's very good. But I think they need to show that they're a band where, an original band with stuff that you can't hear anywhere else, and they haven't done that here. That being said, there are some really good moments on here. Talk About It, the title track is really, really strong, really fun. It's stuck in my head like all day. Rusted Heart is a really nice, slower song after it. That's the real reggae song on here. Such a 90s song. You can tell they grew up in the 90s. Freeze Frame is a really good song, although the melody on that song is dangerously close to On Melancholy Hill by Gorillaz. And that's one thing that Kidding on the Square have to watch out for. Some of the melodies on here are a little too close to other songs. And I'm not saying they're copying off other songs, but you can tell where their influences come from a little too much. And Star Time Cruisin', which is a really awesome song on the back end of the album, as I said, the bonus track on here. But yeah, anyway, if you ever are in the NYC area, check out this band, Kidding on the Square. Their album, Talk About It. Pick it up for $5. It is fun. Steve himself sings one song here, I think, At Your Own Speed, and he's a really good singer. Actually, he has a really nice croon. Although I think it's weird that he only sings one song on here. I think if you're gonna have, another singer sing the song, then you need to have him sing more than one, or else it's a little strange. Like for example, the Rolling Stones would always allow Keith Richards to sing 2 songs per album. I just finished that book, by the way. But anyway, yeah, good band, decent debut album, but they need to find their style more and not be as derivative, I guess, and find a drummer ASAP. Anyway, and this is not meant to be harsh, Steve, and whoever else in the band is watching this, because I like you guys, but this is gonna get a 6 out of 10 for me, which is good, which is not a bad rating. It's not like a 6 out of 10 where I think the album is just boring and it doesn't have good qualities that would rate it higher. I think the good qualities on here are really strong, but it also just has severe flaws. So hopefully this will get you some attention. Hopefully it's good attention. I don't want to fucking ruin your careers here, which I won't because I don't have enough influence. But yes, decent album. There is one more thing I wanted to say. He's giving me some live footage to post on this channel, and I will. So anyway, I promised him that I would try to get him and his band, and him being Steve, and his band attention by posting this review. So please, please, please check them out. If you're in NYC, try to go see this band. Alright, I've rambled for long enough. This last minute was useless. Anyway, 6 out of 10. I'll see you guys later.